Okay, welcome back for the class. Okay, so I guess we're gonna learn the software module by module, right? But then before we even touch the software, probably some intro into accounting. Okay, any of you learn accounting before? Are you accounting experts? Because I don't want to teach accounting experts because I'm not. Okay, I only know enough just to use the software itself. Okay, all right. If you don't know much about accounting, then yeah, this one's for you. Okay, so in every business, actually, accounting is the first thing you're doing, right? That's the most important thing. First, you gotta invest in your company, and then you probably have to take care of transactions that occur in your accounts, like bank account, your sales account, expense, and your debt, your creditors, and things like that, right? And your tax. So everything goes back into, how do you take care, how do you record your accounting transaction. Transaction คือรายการเดินบัญชีนะครับ Okay, and in most of the professional accounting software, including ERP Next, we are using double accounting and double entry accounting. Okay, who already knows about double accounting entry? Double entry accounting? Okay, if you don't, this is for you, okay? All right, ระบบบัญชีคู่ in Thai, okay? So think about this. If I were to use Excel and I say, today I sell my product for 10,000 baht, right? Usually I just record 10,000 baht into the Excel and I'm done. Usually that's what most people would do. It makes the most sense, right? But in double entry accounting, if you do only 10,000 baht, then that's wrong because you got to do two entries. One is it's called the debit entry. The other one is called the credit entry. You can also think about debit entry as the plus number, the number that is positive. And the other entry is going to be credit entry. You can think about this as a negative number. And the thing is that in every activity that you are doing, when you summing all of the entry that is positive, it has to be equal to the summation of the entry that is negative. So, for example, if you're going to record your income, if your money goes up, something else in your accounting system has to go down. So if you say something goes up by 10,000, the other thing in your system has to go down by 10,000 so that they are equal to zero when they sum up. Okay, so that's the double entry, right? So why so complicated? Like, why do we do this, right? The thing is that if things get really complicated when you do double accounting, you can check your consistency of your accounting by just doing this summation right here. So no matter how complicated your ledger คือสมุดบัญชี your ledger are, if this is not equal, then there's something wrong and you know it right away without going through all of your 1 million row of transaction. So that's why they're doing this in the complicated setup or activities. Okay. And just to make sure, I guess disclaimer. I never use this in professional environment because I'm engineer, but I start to learn about this because I have to implement some of the ERP accounting module in the company. So I start to get a grasp of it, but I'm not the professional in this in any way, shape, or form, right? So feel free to ask me, and then if I can find some answers, I'll do. And if you I could be teaching something wrong to you. That's what I want to say, right? But most of the things should be right. Okay, so in terms of the accounting, we are dividing what you say account in 5 types, right? The first one is assets. In Thai, it's in sub, right? It's the things you own, like your cash. But you can also own debt, right? If somebody has to pay you something, that is also assets ก็คือเป็นเจ้าหนี้ it's called creditor you can be creditors okay liabilities หนี้สิน it's the things that you owe other people right that's pretty self-explanatory right equity is investment like ผู้ถือหุ้น so if you invest into something that's called equities, or maybe you can have shareholder invest into your company, that's called equities. Income, that's a pretty obvious one, right? Income is the income. I don't know what to explain, right? Income, right? And expense, ค่าใช้จ่าย is also expense, right? Things you pay to do your stuff, right? That's expense, right? Okay. Okay, so but the thing is that when you have these categories, it's going to be fall into two different sides. Basically, the things that is on the left side, right? If it increase, the number that you record in your transaction is going to be positive, which makes sense, right? If you got more money in your bank account, you should record positive number to reflect that you have more assets. Makes sense, right? If you have expense, so if you have to pay for furniture, then you record that number as positive. Sure, right? Today I spend 500 baht for like paper, right? So I record 500, positive number, right? The one that are a little bit, I guess, confusing is the right side, right? So the right side, if it goes up, you record as negative number, right? So equity, if somebody invests in your company, let's say you invest in my company for 10,000 baht, I write negative 10,000 into equity account. It's kind of weird, right? Like, why would you write negative 10,000, right? I'll let you know how I guess, internalize this on my own, right? I have to find a way so that I don't get too confused, right? Liability, like if you have more debt, you record as negative number. So if you owe me money, then that amount is recorded as the negative number, which might be, I think this area for me, it makes sense. Like if you owe somebody, then it's negative number. Maybe it's okay, right? I guess the most confusing things about double entry accounting is that if you earn money, if you have income, it's actually negative number. Like for example, if your business sells something for 20,000 baht this month, you record it as negative 20,000. That's kind of weird, right? Why is income negative? That's the thing that I'm so confused at the beginning, right? Okay, so the way that I internalize this is that I think about this is actually somebody else's pocket. So for example, like income, for example. Income, if I'm earning something, that means somebody else losing money from their pocket. So this side, somebody else's pocket. For example, if I earn something today, somebody else needs to lose that money. So the income is actually recorded as negative number. Also with equity, like if you invest in my company, your pocket goes down. So the equity is negative. And just disclaimer, this is how I internalize this, right? You can have many ways to make sure you don't get too confused. But just for the first pass, just be aware that the right side is going to be more confusing than the left. The left side is very obvious. That's all, okay? And from what I gather is that the negative number sometimes doesn't show up on the accounting software. Sometimes they use parentheses to show that it's credited. Because I think maybe like a more modern way of teaching this is that they don't want you to talk about negative number because it kind of reflects some loss, but it's actually not the loss, it's just the type of transaction. So sometimes they just say credit 20,000 when you do income. And then in the software itself, they will do like your parentheses. So just to avoid the negative number, right? But in a way, but I guess in a way you can't escape it because in the end you gotta do this statement already. So if you do these statements, then I guess in the end the negative number kind of makes sense in your equation. So that's why I mentioned this in terms of positive and negative numbers. Okay, all right. Another way that I keep reminding myself is through this table, okay? So let's go to just a couple rows and you'll see what it means, okay? So for the assets, so asset is on the left side in the previous page. Asset is not confusing because if you have more things in your possessions, it's got to increase in the debit side. Makes sense, right? If it decreases, then it goes on the credit side. Make sense, right? And then expense also, like if you pay for something, if it increase, it goes on the debit side. If it decrease, it goes on the credit side, right? But the things that are a little bit confusing are these three guys right here. So for example, if my income increase, today I earn some money, I have to put it on the credit. So that's why I'm putting my income as a negative number. So this is the table actually for me. I use it all the time just to remind myself, if today my income increase, I'm going to put it as negative number. Or for example, or for another example is somebody invested in my company, so equity increase, it's actually negative number, okay? Or if I have if I owe someone money, that means my debt, my liability increases. That means that I gotta go to this side. That means I gotta put negative number. So if I owe somebody 10,000 baht, I put negative 10,000. But on the other way, which is kind of weird, is that if somebody owe me something, it's actually positive number. So you will see that in the tax example, because many of you will probably have deal with the withholding tax, right? ภาษีหักณที่จ่าย right? So we get deducted from our salary too much when the employer pay me, because that's the law, right? So then the government owe me some money, and that amount is actually reflects in the liability that's actually go into this side actually. So that's the thing that can be a little bit confusing, but don't worry, okay? Because this is not the focus of this course in any shape or form. Like I don't expect you to. This is not going to be on the exam, but I just want to let you know that prepare for some confusion a little bit, and things will get better. Like the same thing with my experience. Like just go with it, and then we'll work things out, and then it will get better. And then once you know this, any professional accounting software use the same system, so you're good, right? You just have to be confused once in your life, right? Okay, accounting. Let's do some example, right? So first, Miss Sarah. Okay, so she wants to open a business, right? And then, so first, she has to invest in her company. So let's say 70,000 baht. Okay, so that's go into equity. But then she also borrow money from her friends, so that's liability. Okay, so how do we record this in our double entry accounting? So as I tell you, there has to be two sides, and then the two sides has to balance, right? So the first thing is that equity, right here. Equity, if I go back here, that means that if somebody invests in my company, right, my equity increase, I have to record it on the credit side. So that's why, right here, 70,000 baht goes to the credit side right here, equity. So the credit side, you can think as a negative number, or you can think as the credit side, right? And also, if Sarah borrows money from her friends, so that means that she has debt, right? If her debt liability increase, it's also go into the credit side too. So that's why both the investment and the borrowing money, it goes into the credit side, right? And if I were to total these things up, I should get the 100,000 baht on the credit side, right? But that's not the whole story. You got to do the other side too, because once you invest and once you borrow, then the assets of the company actually increase, right? So when you go back to this, this table, if the assets increase, that means that you got to put on the debit side, okay? So that's why we put 10,000 baht here, right? And sorry, 100,000 baht here, right? And if you total things up, then you can see that this side is very equal. And you're going to see this action reflected in the software probably today. And I just want to let you know that in terms of, like, these are the categories, but in the accounting software itself, we are actually dividing all of this category into even more account. For example, you're going to see that if you have assets, you can choose type of the asset. For example, you can choose cash. And you're going to see that in ERP Next, for example, there will be an account called cash, which tells you that you have cash, right? And maybe you can have other type of assets, right? You can have inventory of some things, or you can have, I don't know, other things, right? And also the equity, it goes into the equity account, and also liability, this is called loan. If you borrow something, it's called loan. Okay, so next up, like, we got money, right? The next, she's gotta buy something as an expense. She bought an equipment for 25,000 baht, okay? So we have the first round, which is on the next, the previous slide. But right now, we're gonna do another entry, right? And again, it has to balance between the credit and debit sides, okay? Okay, the expense, what happened with the expense, right? So first, we incur some expense. If you go back to this table, you can see that expense increase go on the debit side. So that's why we do expense of 25,000 baht in the debit side, right? But then something has to go down. Something has to go down. That's the confusing part of this. You cannot just do 25,000 and be done with it. You cannot. So so what's going down is that if you're paying, if you bought something, so that means you are liable to pay someone. So think about this. This transaction is not payment. When you buy something, you incur an expense, but then you gotta pay someone. The payment is actually another double entry. Like, if you do payment, there will be another row. Let's say payment, and then there will be another, two sides of it. But right now, think about if you got something, then you owe somebody this much. That's how it works. And you'll see something like this happening in the system too. Okay. So if you owe somebody, then again it's got to go on the credit side. If you refer back to that table on the previous page. Okay. And then in the ERP Next software, you're going to see that this expense is fall under the account called direct expense. And then the liability is called creditors. So it's just a name of it. Just want to let you know. Right? Okay. So again, if you add everything up, then you get 125,000. And then also the same thing on this side. Okay. So something like that, we're good to go. Okay. So lastly, okay, bear with me, okay? So lastly, Sarah sold a product for 50,000 baht, okay? But then she also received money from the customer for 25,000, but then she also, I guess somebody needs to pay her later for $25,000, right? So if she received money, that means it's income, right? And what's kind of confusing about this is that income that go on the credit side. So if you have income increase, then it's actually the credit side. So that means that you're going to put in 50,000 baht in the credit side right here, right? And the account that you use is called sell right here, which makes it like you sell something, you get income, but that's go on the credit side, which is negative number, right? So this one negative, but something has to go up, and then things that goes up is actually first, if you receive money, then your asset increase. That makes sense, right? Your cash increase because you just got money from your customers. But then if somebody needs to pay you later, that means that you have you become debtor. So that's what it is. I think I might get this one actually switch. I will check it, but I think this one is called creditor, right? Because debtor means that you are owing somebody, right? But this one I think is creditor. I'm not sure. I'll check again. Okay. But I'll make sure that this one's right. Okay. But again, if somebody needs to pay you money, that's an asset already. Like เป็นเจ้าหนี้คือสินทรัพย์อย่างหนึ่งนะครับ Yeah, I'm not sure. I might get confused between debtor and creditor. It's just terminologies. Okay. But essentially, you don't get money yet, but you get money in the future. Okay. And then again, everything has to match up in terms of the debit side and the credit sides. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I know you guys. It's kind of weird, and then it's very confusing. So let me just show you some hand-on demo. Right. You can start doing the software right now too. Okay. All right. So I think I have one account left to show you guys. Right. Nobody used Tech 08. So I can use this one. Okay, so these are the software itself, right? So first of all, if you look into the menu bars, you're going to see that there are, I guess, many modules that you can use, and we'll go through, I guess, a lot of them in this course because we have some times. But one thing that I want you to do first, maybe just to go around some of the administrative things. For example, you can go to users right here. And right now, if you go to this user right here, okay, you're going to see that there's one user called admin users, right? If you want to add another user to this system, for example, like you talk to the business owner and they want to have another access, you can also add users. Okay, maybe you can add another user right now and see if you can log in, right? Just administrative stuff first, right? So usually I go to the full form so that I can type more information. So feel free to just type any email and first name, last name. What's going to happen is that like if the system has some email built in, then they're actually going to email this to the actual email. But I haven't. This site hasn't been configured with the email service yet, so nothing's going to get email, right? So you can just type in any email you want. It doesn't email, but so I can do test@example.com, right? Type email, and then do test users. I think that's what you need in terms of being user, right? And you saved like that. You can try yourself. It's okay. Okay, and right now the system going to say that there is no role enable. Right? But we'll talk about roles later. Okay, but right now, if you kind of bypass that information, then you can kind of go into the details of the users. And what I usually suggest you doing is that you go to the settings, and you go to the change password, and now you can change the username, the user password. So normally, the system, if it's configured with the email service, it will send the one-time login link to the user from in that email, and they will set up the password by themselves. But this system, I haven't used any email service yet. So the way that you create the user is you create the user, and then you change the password from here, and then you can do the login. So let me just show you real quick, right? I say like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Weak, yeah, totally, right? Actually, it doesn't even let me because it needs a little more secure password. So I do user at 1, 2, 3, 4. That's something I like to do. Okay, and then see if I can log in again with the new user, right? So I go to incognito so that it's a different sessions, right? tech08.iecmu.com. And then I should be able to do, actually I don't remember, test@example.com. And then user at 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it works, right? So that's how you do like user stuff. So feel free, if you want to change your password into something that you remember, then you can also go to your users, admin user, that's your account right now. And I believe you can just change your password into something you can remember. So your friend doesn't sabotage your site easily. You can change your password right now if you want, right? But I have admin password, by the way, so I can go into each of your sites. I have the master password, so yeah. So you cannot hide anything from me. Just want to let you know upfront, okay? Okay. Maybe we'll go through some of these administrative things later, okay? But right now, let's go through our example. Okay. Let's open a business, right? And let's say in this business there will be. Oh, by the way, I should tell you this. That's one more important thing. Okay. So in this setup, I already set up some of the company details for you. So why don't you come to, I think you can go to here, company, okay? So usually if you, the menu is just too much, right? Sometimes I just search for it. Like this search menu is actually quite nice because you can search to all the pages that is available in the website. So can you help me just go into the company list page for me? Okay. So right now, this is the setup that I had for every one of you. So right now, this site, your site is configured for one company. It's called Tech O, and then with a number respective to each of you. And technically, this software can manage multiple companies. So if you have more than one company, it actually works with the same site, right? You can add more company. So right now, if you click into this company, these are some of the kind of like the basic setup in your business. For example, you can set up the currency, right? You can do countries, you can do name, like you do abbreviations. Actually, this one cannot be changed, so sorry, I already choose it for you. But there are other things that you can input in your company, right? Accounts and things like that. We'll come back to this later. But just want to let you know that like when I set up the site for you, I have to create one company in order for the site to work. That's all. Okay. So you already got a company in the site, right? And we're gonna configure it so that it reflects all of this transaction. Okay. So first, John and Mary is going to invest in our company for this much, right? The first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the account. So if you're going to go through the direct way, we're going to go through accounting right here. And then we're going to go to chart of account. So these are the things that you are going to visit a lot during the first part of the accounting module. So how do we separate things into different, basically books, right? Books of accounts, right? Okay, wait. Oh, wait, what is this? No permit view. Do you guys have the same problem as I do? Yes? Let me see. Okay, I don't have problems. Do you guys have problems? I think it's because of the way that I create a new user without the role, and it's kind of confused. But once I log out and log in again, the permission is restored correctly. I don't think you should have problem, right? Yeah, no. Okay, so these are the account. So when I say account, I mean it's just the way to divide it each category. So this way it might be too many to look at. Another way that I like is to go to list view and then choose the tree view. So that one makes more sense to me. So why don't we go to the tree view? And you'll see. Okay, if I go to here. And now you can see the familiar terms, like assets, liabilities, equities, income, and expenses. right? The 5 categories of accounting that we just talked about, right? And each of these categories can be divided into multiple accounts, actually even subfolder of it, right? So these are, so think about it as a book bank. Like let's say you want to keep track of different things, right? You normally like open multiple bank accounts, similar thing. So these can be like maybe not this one, but if you click one more time, right? For example, like this one. This one is more like it's called ledger. Ledger is like book bank or something. How you separate your transaction into like different categories called ledger. Okay. And if you want to see every ledger type, then you can do expand all. Then now this is a lot, right? So yeah, so these are pretty standard in terms of if your business is it's I guess complicated, then you need something like this in order to manage your ledger in a manageable way. Okay. All right. So the first thing that we want is that we want to try the equity, right? So maybe you can collapse all, and then we're gonna go to equity. Okay. And maybe I'll just have you creating a new folder for it. So maybe first we can do add child right here. We're going to add child. Okay. And let's say this one is called shareholder. Okay. And then I'm going to say it's group. So I want to group things together. So this one, so first I want to create a folder. So I'm going to say this one is a group. This is not the ledger itself. Okay. And that should be all. And you create new. So see, I have a new folder appearing. Okay. And the next thing is I want to create an account inside this folder. So I say add child. This guy right here. And now, maybe I want to separate John and Mary on a separate entries, right? So I say John. It can be anything, right? You can think about a different way of dividing your transaction, but maybe John is very important. He needs his own dedicated account balance, right? Then account type would be equity. Okay. And that's it. You can create now. Okay, so let's create it. Create new. And now I have John right here. Okay. So why don't we create another one for Mary? Okay. So maybe maybe you guys can try create one for Mary and one for John. Good.โอเคได้ไหมมีปัญหาไหมครับเกิดอะไรขึ้น equity อ๋อลองเปิดให้ผมดูนะ expand ให้ผมดูอ๋อนี่ถูกแล้วอ๋ออันนี้ไม่ได้ทำเป็นกรุ๊ปลบทิ้งเลยลบทิ้งได้delete ไปเลยแล้วก็สร้างโฟลเดอร์ใหม่กดที่ equity นะแล้วก็ add child ทีนี้ไปเขียนว่า shareholder แต่เลือกเป็น each group ด้วย Okay, so it doesn't really matter how you like divide things into like folder and stuff. It's just your own organization. Like what makes sense to you, as long as it's in the correct category, should be fine. And one thing that I want to do once I like learn all of this, I want to use this one and keep track of my tax, because I'm pretty bad at tax report. Like I don't keep things organized. Okay, John and Mary. Okay. Keep things organized. Okay. I'm going to create another one for Mary. Okay, so I'm going to do add child and then just do Mary. Account type will be equity. So account type is actually for filtering. As you will see that in later module, when something has to deal with the accounting, for example, like if you do inventory, and then the filtering is going to go into this account type right here. It's not going to concern about like equity, because equity doesn't have anything to do with inventory. So if you set the account type correctly in here, it's actually help with filtering later on in other module. Well, but that's for the future. Okay. So you got John and Mary. So let's record the investment from John. Okay. And for that, we're gonna go to journal entry. We go to accounting, and then we're gonna go to journal entry. So these are almost like when you type things in Excel, these are the same thing, but in a more accounting way, right? It's called journal entry. Okay, and right now it's empty, right? Because you are new, right? So you're gonna add one journal entry into it. Okay, it's just. So the thing that you might want to check is that first this thing can change, right? Journal entry. You can have other entry, lots of entry in terms of accounting, right? The journal entry is the most common way. The series, something that we can customize later on. This is how they number the documents. You can customize that. The company. So if you have more than company, then of course you might want to choose different, right? And the posting date, this is the date of the transaction. Right? So first, we're going to do double entry, right? So if John is investing, we want to do John in here. So you type John, it should come up right away. Okay. And we can leave the party type for now because it doesn't really matter. But the thing is, you have to choose what side this transaction is going to be on, right? Remember, if I go back into my slides, if the equity increase, right? No, not this one, but this one, right? If the equity increase, it's actually go on the credit side. So this is why I teach you this one, because you got to go on you have to record it correctly, right? So the money from John is actually go on the credit side. So I'm gonna put in, I forgot how much, 2,000 baht. Okay, so 2,000 baht goes here. Right now, if you only have this entry, you cannot submit this document because it's going to say that there is no debit side. You got to have 0 right here. Okay, so the 0, something that goes up, it's actually come from another account in the assets. So if someone invests in your company, that means you have more assets. So let's say that your cash increased, you can say cash in here. Okay, and if you go on the charge of account, you're going to see that there is an account called cash in the asset category. So that's why it's here for you, right? And then you see that it's automatically balanced for you because it knows that it's got to be balanced. So you don't have to type anything. Okay? So that one's good because now we have everything balanced, right? The rest we can come back later. I don't think there's anything more you need to do except from save on the top. So why don't we save it? Okay, saved. Okay. Okay. So one of the things that applies to all of the document in this program is that there are 2 states of the document. There are draft. So draft meaning that it doesn't really, I guess the information is input, but it doesn't go into the ledger. So right now, if you go look at the ledger itself, ledger is more like a book bank. Nothing is recorded yet. It's just temporarily on here. If you want to record it, I guess, for real, you have to submit it. So why don't we submit it? Okay, so there's always two stages in inputting any document in this program. Okay, so if it's submitted, then I guess the information is there. Okay, so where is this? Where is the information goes? Right? I want you to go here. So let's say this is inputted, right? And you want to see, all the transaction that is going on in your company. We're gonna go back to accounting. And we're going to go to something called general ledger. So think about this as like if you open the Excel and you want to see like all the transaction in your company, so that's where you go, general ledger, okay? We're here, right? And of course, right, you're going to see the transaction that you just made. But again, the transaction that you just made, there are two. There's always two per, I guess, per entry. So the double entry things, right? And then everything's going to be balanced to zero, okay? And as you can see that once you start to record more transactions, this thing's going to get more and more. And that's why we have all of these filtering criteria on top. So these, like a filtering bars on top is going to help you filter the right information, which is quite powerful. You'll see this one helps you a lot, okay? Okay, so why don't we record another journal where Mary also invests in our company for how much? For 3,000 baht or any amount that you want. So why don't you record another entry for Mary?เลยกดอาจจะมีกดเยอะไปหน่อยครับกดแบบประมาณตัวแมรี่แล้วก็เดี๋ยวค่อยคลิกดีกว่าครับถ้าจะกดถูกต้องแบบแมรี่วักมันอย่างนั้นนะครับครับนั่นแหละครับถึงจะถูกแล้วก็แอดอีกโรนึงก็ได้ครับไว้ที่แคชก็ได้ครับลองครับแล้วก็เซฟแล้วซับมิทได้เลยครับ Okay, so I'm going to do another one for Mary. Okay, so I go. So normally, if I want to go anywhere and I remember where it is, you can just type in the search bar much faster. For example, journal entry list. Like I normally go through the columns menu, which is too long, takes too long, right? Add journal entry, and I do account for Mary. And then the credit for 3,000 baht, right? And then add row, another one for cash. Actually, you can even do other things. Like all of this you can use, right? But if it makes sense to you, you can also put them in here too. Okay. And then I'll do saved and submitted, okay? So a little bit on the workflow right here, right? So what's happened is that if you have an accountant, maybe like a junior and senior accountant in your company, you can have the junior accountant draft the document, and you can have the senior accountant submit the document. And you can use the user module to, I guess, to set the permission for that. So that's one of the workflow that it enforces. You can design, which is nice for the larger company. Like in every documents in this program, you can have different people doing different things, like drafting or submitting. Okay, but right now we do everything by ourselves, right? Okay. If I were to go back to the general ledger, right, I usually just type in here, right, report general ledgers, and I can maybe refresh just one more time, then I should be able to see more entries. Okay, very good. So another thing about the way that this documented is handled is that let's say that you made mistakes, right? So right now, if I go to the journal entry, right, and I say that, wait, maybe this one is not correct, right? What do we do, right? Normally, we would just delete it in Excel, right? But then it doesn't work like this in this program. You gotta cancel it. So let's say I wanna change this one. First, I gotta cancel first. Let me just show you. You don't have to do it, okay? But you can watch me do it, right? I can cancel, like that. So right now, if I cancel this, and I go back to the journal entry, let me just type it here, then the document is canceled. So that means that if I go to the general ledger, I think it should be gone. If I do refresh right now, it should be gone. It's gone, right? But then if I want to change it, what do I do, right? So normally you can cancel and you can create a new one. That's fine. But a better way is actually to cancel and to amend it. Amend. If you amend this, then the new document will actually have some reference to the one that you just canceled. So then that's good because you want to know why people cancel, and you want to know what's the one that's being canceled, because that sometimes you can kind of cross-check for like the inaccuracy in your system, right? You can amend it. So let's say I just do one little thing, like I just do 2001, like that. But this one has to be equal to, right? Okay, saved it, and then submit it. If you go back to the journal entries, you're going to see that nothing gets deleted, and that's a good thing. Like even the document that gets canceled is actually good data. You want to know why. You want to know the thing that gets canceled. It doesn't get completely. So that's a good thing, right? There is a way to delete everything, but I will tell you later. You don't want people to know, right? You want people to cancel it so that you know that it's being canceled. And what's cool about this is that if I go to the new one, this one right here, and I go through, I guess, connection right here, I should be able to see. Right here, see? If I go through this document, I actually see that this one is amended from this guy right here. So this guy right here, if I click at here, it's going to go back to the one that's being canceled. It's 2,000 baht. So the way that this one is designed is that everything is actually linked to one another quite well. You're going to see that all of the all the documents in this system, they can be linked to one another. So forming a very cohesive data for your company. So that's the power of using ERP system. Okay. All right. So next up, I think we should do some other activities. Okay. So we're gonna do expense. Okay. Oh, I forgot one more thing. I forgot the financial statement. So why don't you guys go back to the home page, accounting, and I think there's another page I want to show you. It's called balance of some sort. Balance. I don't remember. Not this one. Okay, probably not in here, but okay, you can go here first, trial balance. Okay, first you can go here, trial balance. Okay. So, okay, go back to the home page and then accounting, and then let's check out trial balance first. Okay. So in accounting, there are like kind of three main reports that usually accountants want look at. I guess for inspection. One is called trial balance, and I never use this on my own, so I cannot say much about it. But what I know is that when you see trial balance, you're gonna look for 0. If it's balanced between debit and credit, then your account is good. If it's not balancing, you gotta go fix something in your system. So that's why it's called trial balance. Like make sure it's balanced, right? So this is something that I guess accountants use a lot. But what I usually use, for me, I usually go to, actually it doesn't go here. Okay, so why don't you do this? Usually I go from here. I say balance, report balance sheet. This one right here. So this one, I cannot find the menu on the home page itself, but you can access it from the search bar, okay? So I like this one, and you will see. Okay, all right, can you see this, right? So right now, I like this one because it kind of gives you the bird's eye view of your company. So right now, you have assets, right? And you haven't sold anything, so no profit, no loss, right? And you're gonna see once we perform more transaction, then this thing's gonna get updated, and you can kind of see, you know, it's like you're doing Excel, but much better, right? Okay, so now we're gonna do some expense. So let's do some rent, right? Okay, so first, let's go check the charge of account first. So I'm gonna go to charge of account right here. So usually I don't search from the menu, I don't search from the columns anymore, right? Charge of accounts, right? And let's see the expense, right? What do we have here? In the expense, usually it's divided into direct and indirect, right? The direct expense is usually tied into your products. If you sell something and you have the product that costs money, definitely it costs money, right? It's the cost of the product, that's called the direct expense. It's the cost of the product, ต้นทุน ราคาต้นทุน But then anything else that you pay, for example, like rent and things like that, is called indirect expense. So if you want to pay rent, it usually falls into the category of indirect expense. Okay, so let's expand to see if there's already rent for you. So right here, it's office rent. So if you already see office rent right here, then you don't need to create a new account, right? But then if you have something else that's not here, then yeah, feel free to create a new expense account for tracking, right? So here, I guess we're gonna use office rent because it's already there, right? Okay, so why don't we go to journal entry one more time, journal entry, right? And I'm gonna add a new journal entries. And now we're going to do office rent, right? Office rent, rent, okay. You should be able to see that coming up. And then let's think about this. Where is the numbers go? Yeah, come back into my cheat sheet right here. That helps me a lot, right? Expense, if expense increase, you put on the debit side. So in our example, expense is 500 baht. You can use any number you want, but it's got to go on the debit side, okay? 500 right here. So what happened, you know, like what happened if you put on the credit side? You know, the system will not check that for you. It's your own, I guess, accounting, I guess, way of doing it. So if you put it on the credit side, something's got to go up on the other side. So you're going to find out real quick that it doesn't make sense, and then you're going to change it back. So that to keep things consistent in your, I guess, accounting template, right? But then the software doesn't enforce anything in terms of which side it goes, as long as the credit and the debit balance out. So it's on your own sanity check, okay? It's your responsibility to do it correctly, okay? So if you do office rent, then another thing has to go down, right? So you can either, let's see what I have here. I prepared something. Let me check real quick. Something has to go down. Probably it's your money. Office rent. Oh, okay. You can do something, for example, you can do catch. It's fine, okay. Okay, so I'm bypassing a lot of things here. Usually if you do rent, then you might go into the liability first, and then the liability, then you pay them later. So you can separate the step into multiple process. But right now I'm gonna just skip everything and say, okay, you have expense, and you pay for your expense. So that's that's fine for now, but later on you will see that the process is actually more detailed than that, right? So let's say you pay from your cash, right? Then you can do credit like that.
So basically, if I cash there but liability, I just have a system that I will pay for the rent later.
Yeah, you can do that too. Yeah, you can have liability and you pay later. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Actually, I forgot one thing, but it's okay because usually I meant for you to create the bank account first, but it's okay. You can have cash. You can use cash. Okay. Cash is fine. Okay, cash, right? And then saved, and then submitted, right? And one thing I like is that you can have, if you want to inspect what happened from this, I guess, journal entry, you can do view and go straight to the general ledger by going to ledger. So this one's going to jump right away into the general ledger type page with this one right here, with the voucher number. So this one is actually filtering the item that correspond to what you just enter in the journal entry. If I were to delete this one, like that, then you can see everything that's going on. Okay, so right now this is one of the, I guess, nice feature that this page has, because you can filter with a lot of options. For example, you can do against, I guess, the account itself. Like if you want to do like rental, then you can do office rent, right? Like you can type it here, office rent. And then it's going to filter just the office rent ledger transaction for you. Or you can also filter by like voucher number. So this one by the actual documents, and then you can see what transaction is relevant to each document, right? Okay. All right. So why don't you help me also pay salary to the employee? Okay. So first, if you want to pay someone, then maybe you can check the expense. So salary is also indirect expense. Okay. So why don't we go check at the account, let's say charge of account, to see if you can have salary, or if you need to create a new account for it. So you go to expense, and then indirect expense, and then do we have salary? Yeah, we have it here. So yeah, why don't we pay someone right now? Yeah, you can pay out. You can pay out from your cash, right? You can use your cash account and move. So basically, the way I think is that you cannot move the money from cash into the salary. That's another way you think about it too. Oh, I found it. Okay. Okay. All right. So let me show you how to do the salary, this is a very easy way to, I guess, crude way to do it. There's actually the entire module called payroll that you can use to actually go into detail of paying people. Okay. That will become later. But I go to journal entry again, and I do another journal entries. And right now, I'm going to pay someone, so salary. Again, salary is the expense. So any expense go on the credit side. The salary is 3,000 baht. Okay, 3,000. Okay, and then another one is called cash. Like, so I'm gonna pay for my cash. Wait, actually I get it wrong. Sorry, it goes on the credit side, debit side, right? And my cash has to decrease. So the way that usually what happens is that once I do this, the first thing I might get it wrong, but then for the second entry, if it doesn't make sense, then like something has to make sense in here. Like for example, I remember that cash is something that kind of reflect what I have. So if I pay someone, my cash has to decrease. So that's why it go to credit. So usually that's what happens. You kind of correct yourself when you start to like kind of reasoning between these two entry. Okay. You can save it and then submit. Okay. Okay, so if I to look at my ledger, right, I can view ledgers, and then I can delete the voucher just to see everything. So right now I have, like a lot, quite a number of the entries, right? But this one can be a little bit difficult to see. Why don't we go to the financial reports? I found it. It's actually accounting, and then it goes here. That's what I meant to find right here, financial reports. And there are a couple of things that you might be interested. You feel free to click through all of them. Okay, so these are things that people, right here actually. The one that I like is called balance sheet, right? But then there are, some of them more if you are interested in looking into particular areas. So let me check out balance sheet first to see what happened. So right now, what happened is that somebody invests in me, in my company, for 1,501 baht, right? But then I got expense. I pay for rent, I pay for salary, but I haven't got any income. So that's why I got lost, right? So now my business is actually incurring loss, not profiting yet because you haven't sold anything, right? So that's what's happening. Okay, you don't owe anyone's money, but you actually owe the investor this much, right? So usually what happens is like once you operate your business, like every year, you gotta pay some interest or dividend back into your investor, or else they're gonna get angry. So that's why, technically you're owing the investor money, right? Okay, so why don't we just record some income, right? Right now we don't have any products, but let's just imagine that we got some income, right? Because we have some time left, so we're gonna play around with this a little more, okay? Okay, so why don't you try first? Like so let's say you got some income from selling, like how do we record it in the journal entries? Let's earn some money right now. So let me help you get started. So if you want to type into the journal entry, you might want to look at the chart of account first, right, to see what's in the income, right? Before you even do the journal entry, you should see where do I put all the numbers in, right? So we go to income. Again, there are direct income. So direct income is something that comes from your products, and indirect income is something else, right? So right now, they don't know what your indirect income is going to be, right? So you have to create one yourself. But right now, if you right here. So right now, the account that they have is sell. So let's say if you sell something, then it's the appropriate place to put it in is to here. So why don't you create a journal entry, and let's say today you sell things for some amount of money. That amount of money is going to go into this ledger. Okay, but the tricky things about income is that it's actually negative, right? The income is the confusing one because you get money, it's negative part, right? But it's negative because actually something in your assets is going to go up. If you have income, that number is negative, but it's balanced by your asset that is that increases. Okay. Okay, so let me go through this exercise, show you this one. So I'm going to go to journal entry list again. I'm going to add another entries. And this time I'm going to sell something, so sell, right? And let's say I sell something for, I don't know, like 5,000 baht, right? So you gotta have to remember to put it here to be correct, right? And then, but then this one go down because to me, I internalize this by saying that when I do income, it's somebody else's pocket. So if I get money, somebody else losing money, right? But then something in me is actually it goes up. So let's say cash, right? But you can also do something else. Like you can do like I don't know, there are capital something else, but cash probably make more sense here. So cash goes up, income goes down, right? And saved. So that's the one we want. Right. And submit it. Okay. So yeah, this is a weird way of doing things, right? Which you open the business and you gotta say negative income. I got negative income today. That's kind of scary, huh? Okay. And the cool thing is that if I were to go back to the balance sheet, now you can see that my yay, I got profit now. You got profits now in your business? I got. So I guess make sure that you're getting profit from your business. Sometimes you have to refresh, right? It might not reflect it right away, but make sure you are green. How about that? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so why don't you do another one just for a kick, right? You see that you can sell products. How about you sell some service, right? There you can see there's another account in the income called service. How about you do some service into your customers and you get money? Yeah, just make your business even more profitable. Okay, let me just sell some service too ขายบริการนะครับ okay journal entries again and then I'm going to do another journal entries and now I'm going to do service, right? So service is income from service, right? Again, income go to the negative side. If I perform some service, I gotta go to the negative side, but then my cash increases. So I got more money in my pocket. So that's how it goes. I saved and then I submitted, right? If I were to go to my, actually, that's actually a way you can jump to the balance sheet right away, but I don't remember where it is. Okay, never mind, I just do balance sheet here. Balance sheet, right? And then probably has to refresh one more time. Now I got even more profits, okay? Very good. Actually, with just this knowledge, you can actually, I guess, ditch Excel right away, right? If you know how to do journal entry, you're done. Now you can keep track of your accounting in a more, I guess, appropriate way, like in a more professional ways. And all other professional accounting software, they actually use this system. So it will make more sense for you if you use another thing. And let me just show you a little bit. One more thing is that if you want to use accounting module only for your, I guess, small business or your small ventures, you don't even need ERP Next. You can even use this one called Frappe Book. This is something I want to try on my own, but I don't have time yet. But this one is called it's the ERP Next, but then just the accounting module for the like very small size business. And the good thing about this one is that this one is actually not online. This one is the installation on the desktop and Mac and Windows. So with this one, you don't even need the IT knowledge. You just install this program onto your laptop and start using it in order to ditch Excel. So this is a very good solution just to get rid of Excel, right?
So if I would have like my own business, I would just use this
Yeah.
application for free, and
Yeah.
then I can submit like my sheets, my balance sheets to the like tax office or whatever. Like
That one you have to talk to the accounting firm to see if they accept the information from in this format or not.
Okay.
But usually,
Basically, I mean, it's probably even more like it's probably even easier to understand than Excel.
yeah, because it's using the accounting terminology. So I'm pretty sure if you print out, they'll understand what it is because it's the same terminology.
I don't have to waste any money on the accounting software.
Yeah, and then this one don't require any technical knowledge because it's on on your laptop. So no need for any expensive investment. So this one I really like because they target the one that I work with a lot. Right? So same process, but just accounting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So before we wrap up this module, I want to show you this. In every document in this ERP Next software, you can do this. This is something that I really like because when I go to journal entry, for example, right? Usually when you do this, you might want to have like evidence or proof of payment or like some other documents that you take picture of, right? And sometimes you want to attach into here. So this is something really nice about this software is that every document that you see from now on in the entire program, you can do attachment. And then you can add, for example, you can add like pictures or anything. Like I want to add this thing into it. I just do upload. And now you have this one in here. So one of the things that I like is that this software actually kind of like perform itself. Yes. Oh, okay. So you just go into journal entry, for example. Actually, it can be any, like journal entry. This one, right? Click on any document, anywhere, any document's fine, and not even have to be in this module. Like any module, you can do attachments, right? And you just attach random things into it. So I don't know if you have heard of what's called the DMS, the Document Management Systems. Like, for example, like OneDrive is called, it's another way, it's DMS. But then if you use OneDrive or Google Drive, it's kind of separated from your business flow. So your document is somewhere else, right? But if you keep your document this way, it's actually on the right place. For example, if I have like snapshot, if I take picture of the receipt or something, right, I can put it in here. And the receipt is going to attach to the journal entry, which I can come back later and review it. So this is very, very nice, and I think it answers a lot of the pain point where you gotta have picture somewhere else, right? And your Excel somewhere else. It's very confusing. So this is very nice. And as you can see later on, you can actually tag people. So if you have a lot of users in your system, you can start tagging people. Or not, actually not tagging people. You can do some tagging, like name, for example, you can see like service. And then you can filter this document later on. Doesn't have to be document in this module. It can be any document in the entire system. You can tag it. And you can also assign to people. So if you have multiple users, you can assign this document to them. I don't know why you want to do that, but you can. And then you can have a list of things that are assigned to you. And this is actually particularly useful if you do project management. You can assign tasks to people. So, but then this functionality is actually valid in all documents in the system. So yeah. And another thing is that, for example, if you go to General Ledger, for example, right here, in any reports in this program, again, can be exported. So this example, right, so many entries, you want to export it, you go to Export. And then you can export as Excel. So not just this report, like any report in the entire system, you can do Excel export pretty easily. So right now I have this one in Excel. If you like Excel, you can have Excel. But Excel should not be the first program you type things in. It should be the accounting software. Excel come later. So that's the way to do, right? So my case, I guess my case is that, my argument is that if you don't have any knowledge, use this one, right? And then if you want to step up, you come back to use the actual ERP system. I think that's might be another way to go. When you talk to the business, the local business too, okay? You can say that once you do ERP next, you can also have these options too. Okay, wrapping up, I want to show some case study where we actually use this one for real. So our department actually use ERP next because I just forced them to. I just forced everybody to use it. So in our department, actually, we need to keep track of how the faculties are traveling because we have our own complicated system where everybody get their own allocation. But then their allocation is actually, it has separate, I guess, time range where it's available. And I guess you have to keep track of if your allocation is gone or not, or something like that, of that sort. So before we use the accounting software, everything is kept into the Excel. And that Excel can be interpreted by just the secretary only. Like if I look at the Excel, I don't know what happened because it's too complicated. It's like so many columns, right? So we change that into ERP next by first, we have to study the business flow. So you guys are gonna have to do this when you talk to the business owner. You have to extract what is the flow, what is the activity, right? Usually it comes out in terms of the flow charts. So we identify that when you want to pay first, you go. Let me just show you this. So our department get money from the faculty of engineering. So first, what we thought is that the engineering, so we think about it as the engineering faculty give us money. So it's almost like investing. So it goes into equity. Remember, like somebody invests in your company, it's going to equity. Same thing. When we got grants or we can get the budget from the faculty of engineering, it's equity, right? But then so this one go to negative number, right? But then our asset actually goes up. This asset is called the travel money, right? But then if somebody travel, it goes into expense. That's fine, right? This is so far so good. But then when we want to allocate the money to the faculty, say that, okay, this one, you got like 35, we got 30,000 baht per 2 year, right? What we do is that we do this one, liability. So when we want to allocate money to the faculty, it means that the department has debt. So we create another liability account. And then each of the faculty has their own account. For example, this is my account. My account is positive. This one is negative. So they add up to 0. And any transaction, so if I say I travel, I spend my allocation, it's going to be this transaction that kind of balances things out. So my allocation actually increased, but the debt actually increased, but my expense decreased or something like that. I don't think I explained it quite well, but it's somewhere between this thing that when you go travel and make some expense, it's actually kind of affect these two accounts until it becomes 0. So whenever my allocation is gone, this thing is 0, and my money is also 0 or something like that. So that's something that you have to design if you want to go on that route, right? So that's the thing that we did right here for the travel allocation. And we also do other things for the budgeting. So we have some assets for the construction money, and also for the expense. If we spend some money, we want to see right away on the dashboard that this we are spending like the money fast enough or not. Usually the way that it works is that if you don't spend the money fast enough, the money's gone by the end of the fiscal year. So you got to plan some strategy to maximize the spending. So yeah, which is kind of weird, right? You don't want, like if it's your own money, you don't want to spend, right? But this is somebody else's money, you got to spend before the fiscal year ends. So this helps us a lot because we find out in the past that we don't spend money fast enough and we lose that allocation quite a lot. So once we got this one, yeah, we are quite ahead. So, and what's happened is like this, right? So normally before we use the ERP Next, whenever I want to know my allocation, I have to ask the secretary, and she will take like maybe a couple hours to kind of extract all the information and say, okay, right now I have, I don't know, 10,000 baht left for my travel. But nowadays, you just look in here, look at the website and just see the remaining amount. So it's pretty cool. So that helps us already. So maybe it can help you or your business. So maybe that's something I'm interested in, right? To see if you can apply some of this to the actual business. So we'll see. All right. So yeah, this is what I have today. Right. See you later. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you.